The U.S. and Israel pulled their teams from Gaza ceasefire negotiations. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Friday, July 25th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. President Donald Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, gave an update yesterday on negotiations for a ceasefire in Gaza. He said the U.S. was withdrawing its negotiating team from Doha for consultations, and he accused Hamas of not acting in good faith. Israel released a similar statement. Hamas had reportedly insisted, among other demands, that humanitarian aid delivery in Gaza be increased and returned to its original United Nations-led system. For the past few months, aid deliveries have been run by a U.S. and Israeli-backed project. And the UN says that over 1,000 people have been killed by Israeli forces while trying to get food. The near-total blockade of food entering Gaza has led to a spike in deaths from starvation this week. As international outrage at Israel's siege grows, France announced yesterday that it would formally recognize a Palestinian state. But Israel's far-right ministers have a very different vision for the future of Gaza. This week, one shared an AI-generated video showing a post-war Gaza with glitzy high-rises and few, if any, Palestinians. It echoed a similar AI video that President Trump shared in February. Number 2 is a Post exclusive. The IRS is considering eliminating non-English language tax services. Back in March, President Trump signed an executive order declaring English the official language of the United States. That's a power that some legal scholars say the president does not have. Nevertheless, the Post reported yesterday that the IRS has been working on a way to comply with that order. Officials are considering a plan to, as Attorney General Pam Bondi put it, phase out unnecessary multilingual offerings. The move would make it dramatically more difficult for non-English-speaking individuals to file their taxes. Meanwhile, Trump signed another controversial executive order yesterday. It directed federal agencies to find ways to make it easier to forcibly hospitalize homeless people with mental illnesses and addiction. Number 3. A Justice Department official met with Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime associate. Epstein and Maxwell were charged with sex trafficking and other crimes in 2019 and 2020. Maxwell was convicted in 2021. She's serving her sentence in federal prison in Florida. Epstein, though, was found dead in his jail cell in 2019 while awaiting trial. His death was ruled a suicide. Now, as President Trump struggles to contain the fallout over his handling of the Epstein case, Maxwell is back in the spotlight. Yesterday, she met with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. They spoke for about 5 hours, and her attorney reported that the meeting had been very productive. They plan to speak more later today. It was not immediately clear how the Justice Department plans to use whatever information Maxwell provided in the meeting. The FCC approved the controversial $8 billion merger of Paramount and Skydance. That's number 4. The Federal Communications Commission has been reviewing this merger for more than 8 months. Skydance is an independent film, television, and animation studio. Paramount has a film division and a slate of television networks, including CBS and Comedy Central. The merger review has been marked by accusations of political pressure. One FCC commissioner expressed concern that the Trump administration was unduly pressuring Skydance and Paramount to make concessions to secure his administration's approval. Earlier this month, Paramount agreed to pay $16 million to settle a lawsuit filed last year by then-presidential candidate Trump. It was over CBS's editing of a 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris. Then, last week, Paramount said it would cancel The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. That news came days after Colbert, who's a frequent Trump critic, had described the company's payment to Trump as a big fat bribe. Yesterday, the merger was approved. President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance paid tribute to Hulk Hogan. That's our fifth story. Hogan died yesterday after suffering a cardiac arrest. He was 71 years old, and he left behind a complicated legacy. For a generation of professional wrestling fans, Hogan reigned supreme. During the peak of Hulkamania in the 1980s, he touched every corner of pop culture, including movies, TV, video games, and merchandise. With his tanned skin, thinning blonde locks, and yellow and red bandanas, Hogan flexed his 24-inch pythons, the nickname he gave to his biceps, ripped off his shirt, and preached these words to his fans.
Train, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, be true to yourself, true to your country, be a real American. Whew.
Decades after his heyday in the ring, he remained in the public eye for better or worse. In 2015, the National Enquirer published dialogue of him using deeply racist language. That severely damaged his reputation among wrestling fans. Then, last summer, he had a primetime spot endorsing Trump at the Republican National Convention. In a tribute yesterday, the president called Hogan a great friend and said he was MAGA all the way. Number 6. The iPhone is getting a dramatic software update, and you can preview it now. Apple is still fine-tuning iOS 26. It's one of the most significant software overhauls the company has made for its phones in years. And if you want to take a peek at it, the work in progress is now available to the public. Our tech reporters have already been taking it for a spin. One of the biggest changes is liquid glass. That's a new aesthetic which makes app icons, notifications, and more look kind of transparent. If you don't like it, tough. There's no way to completely disable it. Another big change is a tool that makes the caller explain what they want before your phone rings. And another one that lets you ignore a call while you're on hold. Your phone rings again when it detects a voice. That one sounds pretty good, even if, so far, it's having some trouble detecting the difference between a robot voice and a real one. And at number 7, the Tour de France is worried about tiny motors in bikes. Professional cycling's biggest race is underway in France.
1 kilometre to go for the Australian, and it's looking good.
Yes, it's looking very good.
That was the sound of cyclists attacking a hill in the French Alps yesterday. 20 years after a doping scandal upended the sport, the world of professional cycling is going to great lengths to convince its fans it's clean. These days, they're on the lookout for a different kind of cheating, what's known as mechanical doping. At this year's race, officials are carting off riders' bikes to be searched for tiny motors. Only one rider has ever been caught with one. That was in 2016 at a different race. But technology has improved dramatically since then. And organizers are anxious about what it would mean for the Tour's reputation if it turned out that cyclists were being propelled up the Pyrenees by something other than their very impressive quads. Unless that can be prevented, the sport of cycling will continue to be haunted by its past. That's the show for this week. The associate producer of The Seven is Taylor White. The staff writers are Jamie Ross and me. John Taylor is our editor. Additional editing by Christina Quinn. Special help this week from Emma Talkoff. Copy editing by Melissa No and Thomas Haliba. Mixing and sound design is by Jim Briggs and Justin Garish. Our theme music is by Edith Mudge. Renita Jablonski is our director of audio. I'm Hannah Jewell. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend. I'll meet you back here on Monday.